Namaskar, welcome to Honest Astrologer, and today I have a person who has been very frequent on my channel and with whom I've done some really memorable videos, and she happens to be Divya. She's like a daughter I never had, and I remember when this girl came to me, it was like a holy mess. She came to me in a moon Rahu, and then I saw her transform from a jittery little thing, very confused, very scared, very depressed, to this roaring tigress in her Rahu Mars. And then in her Jupiter period, she has become this mentor and this wise healer towards other people. So, this is a person who completed the entire arc. She was my main subject study for Rahu Jupiter Dasha Sandhi. Today we bring you guys Divya Gupta to discuss Rahu to Jupiter Dasha Sandhi. Divya, welcome.
Thank you, sir, for having me and for this wonderful introduction. And yeah, I'm very excited now because I get a lot of calls from people who are at the very last end of Rahu. So I said, it's very important to put it out there for everyone because बहुत ज़्यादा misguide करा जाता है Jupiter के लिए, that Jupiter आएगा, everything. It's like a magic wand. And unfortunately, I had those hopes, but reality was far different. It's very optimistic. Don't get me wrong, which we'll discuss later in the video. But it's just a bit of expectation setting right, which we have to do today.
So Divya, I asked people to give me questions and there were like more than 100 questions. So I've taken out like 15 to 20 of those so that we can address them, and many were very, very personal, many were just repetitive. सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन जो पूछा गया, it was about would there ever be hope? Would things ever come out? So before we get into those questions, I would like to ask you, tell us about your journey from Moon Rahu to Rahu Mars to Jupiter Dasha Sandhi and then to proper Jupiter.
Yes, I promise you that there will be hope and you're going to feel like a different person altogether. And as much as I can repeat it, and as much as Vijayji repeated it to me at that point, it looks like a black hole. And all Rahu Moon people, let's start with you because you're the most troubled of the lot. In Rahu Moon, you just don't feel there is hope and you feel like an absolutely loony person. But I promise you with guarantee that once you're out of Rahu Moon, you're going to feel very different. Now when I go back to my Rahu Moon messages and conversations and friends who are still there with me from Rahu Moon, and they're like, Divya, you have changed. It's not you. I think the biggest thing of Rahu Moon is that people have a monologue. Rahu Moon refuses, there's so much disturbance in the mind, there's so much khalbali in the mind that they want to, even when they're having a conversation with you, it's verbal diarrhea. Or to put it nicely, it's a monologue. They're not ready to listen to you because mind mein, sir, itni disturbance. It's like that, graph you have in the hospital, that heart ka, very volatile graph. So it's a very painful time. And as sir has mentioned, that it's imperative that you take psychiatric help, help with a therapist, healers, anything that can keep your mind in peace, a lot of Shiv Puja, whatever you can do. Please, this is the time, kaise bhi karke, without remedies, without help, you will not be able to sail through. It's nearly impossible to get through this time without sort of going through these help channels. So go for it and watch the video again and again to know that people have come out of it. So Rahu Moon is a very scary time. You will come out of it. And eventually, as you start moving in your journey forward in Jupiter, when you look back, you'll get all your closures as to why things happened the way they happened. So I can go on and on about Rahu Moon.
Achha. Rahu Moon, tell us the top 3 things which you have seen happen.
A lot of fear in the mind. You're perpetually scared that something will happen, someone will harm me. Too many thoughts. And they are like, a lot of thoughts are running that are just way beyond your control. What else? Your mind is scared. And, anything can become the reason for that. So they say, right, कि कोई भी निमित्त बनता है आपके जीवन में, तो राहु मून में भी प्रॉब्लम्स के लिए कोई निमित्त बनकर आता है. तो एनीथिंग कैन बी अ प्रॉब्लम. अ बॉयफ्रेंड कैन बी अ प्रॉब्लम, फादर मदर फ्रेंड. एक मेरी क्लाइंट है, उस बेचारी के पास कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, तो उसको ये प्रॉब्लम है कि प्रॉब्लम क्यों नहीं है.
वाह.
तो and unfortunately now moving further, we can see that this is a very Rahu moon trait. So a lot of obsessions, a lot of fear, a lot of repetition of thoughts. A lot of them come saying that I'm getting very strange thoughts, and there's a lot of repetition in those thoughts, and I can't get beyond my thoughts. So thoughts is like a constant word that I'm hearing in Rahu moon.
So tell us about Rahu Mars.
Oh my God. I still remember that date. And I think a lot of people on the internet now remember that date with me. It was end of April, 28th of April. It was, yeah. And I was waiting for that date, and I kid you not. I mean, don't take it literally, but not like, 1st of May, you're going to be all fit and fine. But give it like 4 to 5 weeks, and something happens in your brain. Like something goes different, and you're not the same person. The stress levels reduce massively, like so much so I would say by 50% they reduce. I think a common theme that I've seen with my research and my own journey in Rahu Mars is a lot of anger, and sort of misdirected anger, very low levels of energy, because it's contrary to the popular belief that Rahu Mars you have a lot of energy, but people have very little energy, and I'll tell you why. Because you're fighting so much in your mind throughout the Rahu Dasha, sir, that there's very little physical energy that you're left with. So especially a lot of women, they go through a lot of fatigue. You cannot move, and there's just, you suddenly, as you move further into your Mars journey, you suddenly start to see कि, oh, उसने मुझे ऐसा बोला था, but why did I put up with that? Oh, but उसने ऐसा किया था, and then you'll go fight with that person. Yeah. So a very simple way of saying that is that in Rahu Moon, you are like a, डरा हुआ बिल्ली under a table. You're very scared. There's a lot of fear mounting in your mind. कोई मुझे पसंद नहीं करता, मुझे कुछ हो जाएगा, क्या होगा, etc. etc. And जैसे आप राहु मार्स में प्रोग्रेस करते हो, you are like a feisty, biting cat. काटने वाली बिल्ली you turn.
मुझे आज भी वो फोन कॉल याद है. अंकल मुझे रोक. Everyone
started telling me तुम इतनी लड़ाकू क्यों हो गई हो? And I'm like, लड़ाकू? How dare you? I gave you money. Instead of saying thank you, you're blaming me to give you money. A very Saturn person. But there's not 100% clarity. I think until we'll come to the transition in Jupiter, how the same situation you start viewing very differently. I think another theme in Mars, and again, depending on your placement, so mine is placed fairly well, I presume, in House of Gains. So उस टाइम लगा कि कुछ नहीं हो रहा. It's a very Rahu problem. Hi, problem, crying. I don't have this, I don't have that. But now when I was mapping my journey, for a lot of digital stuff, I started to see that I got a new house and did it up very beautifully. So that's been my wish for a long time, to have my personal space. So Mars house of wishes mein tha. I started a lot of travel. And I've seen it with a lot of Rahu Mars कि travel, वो Jupiter की energy mightly आना शुरू हो जाती है, right? So travel begins, and some cheetah of, let's say, some sprinkles of Jupiter bit starts coming into your life. Very, very small tasters. So people move towards a lot of healing or start going to therapy. They want to get out of the Rahu madness, but it's confusion. Rahu, Mars don't get along. It's very confusing energy, very conflicting. But guys, please remember, you're going to be better than Rahu Moon. And in Jupiter, you're going to be better than Rahu Mars. So it's like a step forward as the Dasha progresses. And I know until you're deep into Jupiter, it feels like what nonsense. कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है, बोलने की बात है. पंडित ने तो मुझे कहा था जुपिटर आने दो, तुम्हारी लॉटरी लग जाएगी. And you're sitting in Jupiter and you're like, where is the lottery? I'm still facing losses, which we'll come back to. But Rahu Mars is a fighting period. Don't be scared to fight back. I think in simple words, you learn how to stand up on your own feet. And it's very new to you. It's very new to Rahu people to say that I will not do this. You did me wrong. So they're not fully able to say it, but with realization point शुरू हो जाता है वहां से. Yeah.
फिर Jupiter शुरू हुआ. Then what happened? The initial few months.
Oh my God. I have to put it out there, and this was the whole intention of doing this video. Jupiter beginning is so largely misunderstood because, Rahu end is where everybody goes to the most amount of astrologers. And they would look at your chart and say, "Arey, तुम्हारी तो गुरु की बृहस्पति की दशा आ रही है, जाओ मौज करो, जाओ जिंदगी जियो." And they enter Jupiter, and then there are losses, and then strange things happen in their life, and breakups happen, and marriages collapsing, or father would throw out the son, and you are like, "What rubbish! This Pandit is like, this astrologer is crazy." And my cousin started telling me, "Didi, आपने तो मुझे बोला था ये Jupiter, ये कैसा Jupiter है? बकवास है, कुछ नहीं है." One of the biggest themes that we have seen is, I think in Rahu, you're so used to control. I know how to do this. I got it. I know how to make money. You have spent your entire Rahu controlling, and you're so tired at the end of it controlling. In Jupiter, just imagine a fighter putting all the weapons down and be like, मेरे बस की बात नहीं है. I give up, I surrender. They will not say it. Some very egotistical people will not say it with their, own mouth. But that is the biggest sentiment. And another big shift, I forgot. I think there are just so many things. We can do 5 videos and there'll be so much content on this. So yeah, that's one very big shift that you have to surrender. Jupiter will make you do it, whether you like it or you don't like it. So either you do it happily, which none of us can do, or you will be forced into doing this. So depending on the placement of Jupiter, situation is different. Mine is, it's an 8th lord, so the jhatkas were a lot more intense. But there's a massive transition as soon as Jupiter hits. Like, it's so crazy when you map your journey. So Rahu say, as soon as, the further you go more into Mars, and people are going to see strange things happening, okay, which your brain will feel strange at that time, but eventually when you move into Jupiter, you will get your closure. किसी का बॉयफ्रेंड भाग जाता है या हट जाता है, आपका मन नहीं लगता उनके साथ, फ्रेंड्स के साथ मन नहीं लगता. You start disconnecting from a lot of people. A lot of people also become very aloof in Rahu Mars because they're fighting. So, my friend said, two friends said very good analogies. Ki Jupiter beginning is like washing machine. You're cleaning, you're put in a thrown in a washing machine and you are cleaning from the Rahu trauma. And one is like you're recovering from the bleeding war. Rahu last quarter is like, it's a bleeding war. And to get that maram patti takes time. You'll have to have patience. You think that Jupiter Dasha will start like June 6th and life will change. There will be changes, but because you're so Rahu, you're not going to be able to see the changes. People started calling me, Are Guru Ma, and I'm like, please don't use such big words on me. And Guru Ma, Are Guruji aa gaye, Are Pandit Ji aa gaye, because I'm always looking at charts and excited. And these names, sir, became very persistent. And I went back to my astrologer friend and I'm like, what is with people calling me all this? And he's like, Divya, when people start saying this, the Dasha has arrived. There's something, that very Guru Tattva that they're sensing in you. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, good. I mean, I still felt very loony and crazy and what's going on. Another thing, very prominent thing that a lot of Rahu people will feel, at least in the first half of, let's say, first 6 months of Jupiter, would be anything good that will happen to you remotely, like, right? Someone's being kind to you, or they agree to pay your money, or they'll help you. You'll always doubt. अरे इसका कोई motive है? How can someone be so nice to me? Because
मेरे साथ अच्छा कैसे हो सकता है?
I know.
शनि राहु पीपल उनको यकीन नहीं होता मेरे साथ अच्छा कैसे हो सकता है, और ये तो पॉसिबल ही नहीं है.
तो वो अपने राहु ट्रॉमा पे बहुत टर्न बैक करते हैं. पर राहु में तो ऐसा हुआ था, इफ आई गो ऑन दिस डेट, राहु में तो ऐसा हुआ था. So they cannot, it takes a while. Jupiter is a slow planet, so it's all going to take a while. But Rahu Jupiter transition can also be very tricky. I've often seen, and please guys, don't get scared. This is life. Whatever happens, none of us know, right, what can happen. I had a big surgery. That was my, welcome to Jupiter 8th house present. But to my surprise, I have never been this optimistic in my life. Such a big surgery. And I was pacifying people around me. I was like shocked myself. Ki, kaise ho sakta hai aisa? Some people lose something, someone. And I'll tell you why that happens. Because that is, you know, a big end before a new beginning. So, in simple words, how will Jupiter give you something unless the Purana Kachra or Purana, debit credit, all the Purana issues do not come to an end,
Yeah. So
right?
I remember talking to your mother,
Hmm.
and she was like कि सर इसका तो जुपिटर आया, ये ट्यूमर निकला. मैंने कहा मैडम,
Hmm.
ट्यूमर राहु में शायद पिछले 8 साल से था, डिटेक्ट अभी हुआ. द
Correct.
प्रॉब्लम वॉज देयर, द टाइम फॉर द क्योर हैज कम.
Yeah.
Maybe you were in an abusive relationship, you broke up. Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what people need to understand. पहले जब ही आएगा तो जो पुराना गंद फैला हुआ है वो साफ होता है. It could be a bad business, could be a toxic relationship, could be an undetected health issue, and all of a sudden you have to go through that cathartic process of getting it
Yes.
out of your life. So don't expect it to be all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
वो
It's
जब
not.
जब ये ट्रांजिशन होता है, राहु का जो जहर होता है, जुपिटर हैज टू क्लीन दिस अप एंड देन यू गो फॉरवर्ड.
And it's not as painful as Rahu, but it's not an easy process.
The good part is your Guru Chakra is activated. So
Yeah.
you go through it optimistically. I remember
Yeah.
you were so looking forward to it कि जैसे पता नहीं ऑपरेशन नहीं है कोई फॉरेन ट्रिप है.
I know.
And
Matlab,
everybody was surprised, including me, but I was happy.
yeah.
Take care.
So, God has given you a problem, but then He also gave you ways to stay optimistic. I mean, I got the best of doctors so easily. Everything happened so smoothly that you don't have to lift a finger. And Rahu, mein, you are like pushing bullock carts and nothing, like even a nail doesn't get stuck on the wall. That is one
So
very big change. My cousin started his business. 3 बार उसको loss पे loss. कुछ घर नया उसको जुपिटर में आते ही घर मिला. But halfway through construction, he didn't have enough money. That stopped. Started a new business, doesn't feel like going to work. And he's like, Didi, what sort of a Jupiter is this? And I'm like, patience. It's cleaning, it's teaching you. Have patience. It'll all come together.
the first year of Dasha Sandhi is crazy. Anyways,
It's very tough.
second year से things start to sort of calm down.
But guys, tough ka matlab ye nahi hai. Please don't lose hope. You're going to be 80% better than Rahu. Jupiter is going to be days of ups and downs. But remember, if things are going tipsy-topsy, remember Jupiter is working. And sir, as much as it has been said 800 times on the internet, but as soon as Jupiter Dasha starts, plus minus 1-2 months, a guru figure arrives in your life to say that I have come. Now, that can be a physical guru, that can be, a guru not living in the body, but something there is a shift of energy. I've seen a lot of people go to Neem Karoli Baba, Sai Baba, somewhere. So hold on to that guru in that while you navigate the crisis. It will take you so far you won't even know.
Okay, now let's go to the questions. Question number 1. Divya, I noticed you talked about relationships. Would you like to share any changes in search of partner or any shifts in relationships due to Mahadasha, particularly given that Jupiter is significator of marriage? So, let me simplify it. Were you dating the wrong kind of guys in Rahu, and in Jupiter, are you dating the more mature guru kind of people? Has your approach changed? Are you looking for stability instead of butterflies? How has it gone?
So, very good question. I think it's so relevant, but let me clarify, it's very chart dependent, depending on how the placements are in your chart. But one large theme would be, I would break it in 3 parts. One large theme would be, you definitely find very obnoxious people in Rahu. That has changed massively. Like, I look at those people, it's like in Jupiter, I don't have rose tinted glasses. In Rahu, I only saw what I wanted to see. In Jupiter, it feels like I can scan through the person, but that's also my Ketu helping. But Rahu to Jupiter, you find better people. I started mapping dashas of, people I'm meeting in Jupiter are more in dashas like Moon, Jupiter, or Ketu. Rahu men are just chumantar away from me. Another big thing, my 5th house is fairly, challenging. So for me, it's very different. Saturn wants to teach me my share of lessons. But Jupiter, as soon as it comes, it gives you a lot of clarity as to what you want in your dating life or your marriage life. But depending on the age that you're in, so say you are around 30s and not married and you enter Jupiter, Jupiter doesn't like frivolous dating like Rahu. Jupiter wouldn't want to take you out on multiple dates and just meet and explore. No. It will make you clean yourself. It will make your morals really high. It will make you wait. So Jupiter will give you your husband and not multiple boyfriends.
Yeah.
Simply put.
So
Let's not dive too
one
much into
thing
my
I've
life.
seen, and there's a lot of data behind it. 70% of marriages that happen in a Rahu Mahadasha or an Antardasha. So if you are lucky enough के राहु निकल गया शादी नहीं हुई, rejoice, now you'll find a better person. But most people are so desperate for relationships in a Rahu period that they end up marrying.
Sir, funnily, Rahu में जो आपकी expectation from a guy होती है ना, the partner, sort of partner, guy or girl, the partner you want to look for, it becomes 360-degree opposite to what you want in Jupiter.
Right, good point.
So your
वो
perspective
desperation
changes.
नहीं होता, वो wisdom आ जाता है उसमें. Okay, next question. Has Jupiter opened any new doors for you, such as new job, property, relationship, or other opportunities? If Rahu was blocking something, have you seen those things start to change? If yes, what has been the timelines?
Yes, I've seen a lot of things start to change. I think the biggest was clarity of mind. In Rahu, I was so anxious. I could not make a decision. I could not think. I had to call 10 people to take a call and figure something out. So I think the biggest change from Rahu to Jupiter, again, is going to be a mindset. Some people, I think, instantly get a new work opportunity. As soon as I hit Jupiter, I didn't get that. But I was like, okay, Jupiter aa gaya, now let's start a new business. And I would keep like brainstorming which business, this business, that business, nothing would work out. And my friend who's in Ketu kept telling me, Divya, surrender. It will come your way. It's teaching you, it's correcting your past mistakes. But you're so desperate from that madness and that war that you want instant fixes. But now that I'm almost like, ending Jupiter, just like a few months to enter Saturn, I can very confidently say that it's brought so much mental peace, so much clarity, so much sthirta in my thought, so much stability. I don't need validation from people. I don't need cross questioning. If someone says something, it does nothing bothers me. Like, I think that's the biggest gift I've gotten, that I have touch with so much peace of mind. And now I have a desire to live in a state of abundance. In Rahu, we are always in a state of scarcity. And funny enough, in Jupiter, the more I start to live in a state of abundance, everything is coming to me. And I'm very confident the kind of career I want to have. Let's not even pin hopes what I want to have. Your destiny will take you where it's meant to take you. So opportunities will start opening up when you've learned your lessons from Rahu to Jupiter. So my ability to deal with people is so much better. People who used to call me stupid in Rahu actually think I'm so wise now. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, it's so shocking. But some people do find work as soon as Jupiter starts. But that's also a bit tipsy-topsy. Jupiter, guys, is very confusing. Whatever you get, either you're not happy or it's okay, but you want more. Because you're still stuck in that, half your brain, one leg is in the Rahu world and one is in the Jupiter world. So you're confused, मैं कहाँ जाऊँ? So, जो मिल रहा है, जो हो रहा है, surrender to your guru. Be grateful for what you have. And there's no way planets, their energies, the Karitattva of planet or planet will not give you what the chart promises. Astrology works. So it will do what it's supposed to do, but patience is the ultimate core of it, I would say.
Okay, ये बड़ा simple सा है. What to expect in the early months of Jupiter Dasha?
It's very varied. सबका किसी को एकदम जुपिटर आते ही कुछ मिल जाता है, किसी को कुछ नहीं मिलता. So let's answer this in a slightly different way. I think Jupiter आते ही in the first month, what you do see is मन का चैन. You're not as restless as you were in Rahu. Um, you enjoy spiritual energies. You feel more at rest than what you were in Rahu. A Guru Tattva enters your life. I think one very big thing I've seen in Jupiter is a lot of travel. Just somehow travel comes into your life. और ये मंदिर आश्रम एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा जाना शुरू हो जाता है लोगों का. You start listening to a lot of bhajans. That's also very healing for a lot of people. A lot of discourses, या Bhagavad Gita, या कुछ whatever faith they come from. Also, it's time for the beginning of sweet endings. तो राहु की जो बहुत सारी चीजें हैं ना, so people will move away automatically. You will not, you will go to a room full of your old friends and you will suddenly feel very disconnected from them and you're confused कि क्या हो रहा है. So these kind of things happen, and the whole idea of doing this video is that when so-called strange things happen to you, when you're not feeling what you used to feel, or when people tell you you are not what you used to be, know that this is the beginning of Jupiter, which means change is churning and happening. And change is never fun. It takes time. It's not going to happen in 2 months. It's not going to happen in 3 months. You will have to surrender. You will have to leave the control ka rope and let things be, and then you'll see magic.
I have no true friends in my Rahu period. I'm missing on so much memories. Can I have good friendship in my Jupiter periods?
100% you will have better relationships. That is because you attract who you are, right? The kind of people you attract is a reflection of your inner self. And your inner self is going to get better in Jupiter. There'll be more clarity as to what you want. You will not resonate with a lot of very Rahu type energy from your past. So as soon as you even start walking into Mars, you will see that जो आपके पुराने friends थे, relatives थे, relationships थे, work relationships, or whatever it was, you're not going to feel like you belong there. And as you go deeper into, and so this is why fights happen during Mars, right? If let's say someone's been dating and you are at the brink of changing your dasha, and the person can start saying you're not what you used to be, you're not fun anymore, etc., etc. So this energies shift massively, and the more you start getting deeper into Jupiter, I think your ability to take, if I can say it outright, bullshit becomes very low. You have better boundaries. You learn to make boundaries because it's a new you, right? Your expectations of what you can tolerate but you cannot tolerate becomes very Jupiterian. Your entire outlook starts becoming Jupiterian. So you also will not enjoy with friends who are always talking about money and things and I want. Very Rahu energy. You want a very Jupiterian Ketu moon, a more subtle energy. You will really enjoy that. So 100%, whoever is waiting to have better friends, trust me, I have seen that shift personally. I've always had great friends, but I think my relationships revived. My way of code of conduct with them revived a lot in Jupiter.
Great. Okay, this is a very nice question. Please ask her, what do you miss about Rahu Mahadasha and have you become more lucky in Jupiter period?
I think what I miss about Rahu Mahadasha, and thanks for asking this, it's a good question, is so far, and I'm just 1.5 years into Jupiter, I don't know what the rest is going to bring, is a lot of high excitement, energy, my ability to have so-called, modern day fun, which is go out and meet a lot of people, a lot of ambition. I was fiercely ambitious in Rahu. I am not the same in Jupiter. I am a different level of ambitious. I'm a more learning, giving sort of ambitious in Jupiter, more long term.
Yeah, more grounded.
And my fun has become very different. They've become like ashram visits or meditation sessions versus, partying in Goa.
मैं राहु के लास्ट 2 ईयर से कम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम के लिए डेडिकेट होकर हार्ड वर्क कर रही हूँ, बहुत ज़्यादा हासिल कर रही है, जिसकी वजह से हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम हुआ और रिलेशंस में भी हार्मनी नहीं हो पा रही. ऐसे लग रहा है अपना सब कुछ दांव पे है, पर फिर भी आउटपुट जीरो है. क्या जुपिटर दशा में मेरे हार्ड वर्क का रिजल्ट आएगा? ये मैं बोलता हूँ इस पर, देन यू कैन. Rahu puts you on a wild goose chase, right? Rahu may you go out and try to get something which is bloody impossible to get. और अपनी जिंदगी खराब करने का सबसे आसान तरीका कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम की तैयारी। एक सीट के पीछे 1000 आदमी है, देयर इज अ सक्सेस रेशियो 1:1000। मैं हर जवान बच्चे को ये कहता हूँ, इफ यू हैव एनी अदर ऑप्शन गो फॉर इट, फॉरगेट अबाउट गवर्नमेंट एग्जाम्स। either तो you are very very bright, okay, then it's a different thing, or you have so much money that it doesn't matter, you can prepare for 10 years and then go back to your daddy's business, then you can do it. A middle class normal person should absolutely avoid this black hole. And as somebody who has been through the UPSC grinder, okay, born in Lucknow, so एक बार तो घर वालों ने डाल दिया, and very soon I realized कि बहुत इसमें फंस गए तो लाइफ गया. So thankfully I just rebelled in the right time. तो पहली चीज बच्चे, सेट रीजनेबल गोल्स, ओके। जुपिटर दशा आ गई, इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि आप आईएएस निकाल लोगे, वहां पे बहुत सारे लोग होंगे जिनके आपसे बेटर दशा होगी, सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड। दूसरी चीज, द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ हार्ड वर्क हैज बीन डन टू डेथ इन इंडिया। हार्ड वर्क हार्ड वर्क हार्ड वर्क, क्या उखाड़ लिया? गरीबी, बेरोजगारी, भुखमरी सब तरफ तो फैली हुई। जनता हमारी सबसे हार्ड वर्किंग है, 90 घंटा 70 घंटा, अब तो 120 घंटे की बातें होने लगी। मार डालो सबको काम करा करा के, व्हाट नॉनसेंस। सो इट इज नॉट अबाउट हार्ड वर्क ओनली, इट इज मोर अबाउट रियलाइजिंग द ट्रूथ अबाउट योरसेल्फ। अब मैं अगर कहूं कि साहब मैं आईआईटी का एग्जाम निकाल सकता, नॉट इन दिस लाइफ, नॉट हैपनिंग, मेरे में वो टैलेंट नहीं है। हाँ, लेकिन टैलेंट है और टाइमिंग सही है तो मे बी आई कैन क्रैक सम अदर एग्जाम विच इज रीजनेबली डूएबल। सो जो ये राहु का पागलपन होता है ना, इसमें मैंने बहुत लोगों को स्टक देखा।
So you do the best you can, and when Jupiter comes, whatever is meant to come into your life, whatever is right for you, be it, these exams, if you were to become, I don't know, a spiritual leader or a chai wala or a CEO, your destiny will take you in that direction.
Next question. When exactly does Dasha Sandhi happen? Does it happen in Rahu Mars or does it take place in Jupiter early phase?
I mean, as I think you've said it most beautifully, right? Dasha Sandhi is handover takeover. तो आप सोचिए कि आप 18 साल एक कोठरी में बंद रहे, या फिर यू बीन फाइटिंग इन अ केव, और सडनली वो केव हट जाए और वहां पे ब्राइट लाइट आनी शुरू हो जाए, यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू डील विद इट, योर रेटिना इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी रेडी टू बी एबल टू डील विद इट, राइट? सो व्हाट हैपेंस कि धीरे धीरे पहले एक खिड़की खुलती है, थोड़ी लाइट आती है, एंड यू आर लाइक, अरे लाइट क्यों आ रही है, आई एम नॉट यूज्ड टू लाइट, लाइट इज नॉट गुड फॉर मी। देन दरवाजा खुलता है, यू एंजॉय that light. So ऐसे धीरे धीरे Jupiter sets in. So जो difficult dasha, okay, let's not use the word difficult, I mean Jupiter, I don't like using these words. The more challenging phase of it, where things feel very unsettling and different, pretty much starts from Mars, in a good way, because you're moving towards light. आप अंधकार से रोशनी की तरफ जा रहे हैं, आप गुरु की तरफ जा रहे हैं, and when you transition to Jupiter Saturn, that's when your career sort of, it's the setting stone of your setting foundation of your career. पर जुपिटर अपने फुल ब्लोन में जो मैंने देखा है सर, माय रिसर्च टेल्स, आता है जुपिटर वीनस तक। सो दशा संधि के इफेक्ट्स आपको मार्च से शुरू हो जाते हैं, एंड आई थिंक जुपिटर के एंड तक आप इस लायक बन जाते हैं दैट you can deal with Jupiter, you can start to enjoy the Jupiterian ways of life.
Okay, should we leave behind the manipulative people and family members who betrayed us once our Jupiter starts, or should we forgive them and keep them in our lives? Divya.
Depends on how your moon and sun is, and how vindictive and non-vindictive or forgiving you are. I am very Ketu denoted, so I forgive very quickly. But who are we to forgive, right? I think जैसे जुपिटर आपका आएगा, जुपिटर एनर्जीज आएंगी, आप उनसे ऑटोमेटिकली डिस्टेंस हो जाएंगे, एंड द मोर यू प्रोसीड इनटू, द मोर यू लैंड इनटू द जुपिटर दशा, आपको अपनी लाइफ का ना सर क्लोजर मिलना शुरू हो जाता है। राहु में मेरे साथ ये क्यों हुआ, और अगर by God's grace you know astrology or you're exploring astrology, which a lot of people do in Jupiter, आपको ये भी समझ आने लगता है उस बेचारे ने मेरे साथ वो किया. I went through a mad breakup during Rahu Moon, right?
Very brave of you to share that.
Yeah. So, the more I got into astrology and I read his chart and I understood, I think more than grudge, there was like, I felt sorry for him because we both were in really bad times. And I understood that it was a karmic punishment I had to go through. 100% absolutely you should forgive people, and the core of the question is that who are we to forgive anyone? जैसे जैसे आप जुपिटर में मूव करेंगे, आप पहली बार उनसे कनेक्ट भी नहीं कर पाएंगे, राइट? और आप बाय गॉड्स ग्रेस, इफ यू डू एस्ट्रोलॉजी और इफ यू कैन गेट इनटू एस्ट्रोलॉजी, लुक एट द चार्ट्स, you will understand why this happened to you, why were they bitter to you, or why were you bitter to them. it will help you it will help you understand someone's perspective. So in Rahu Moon, I went through a very bad breakup, like I horrible, which made me think for years, how can someone do what they did? Until I got into astrology, I had his chart. I had their chart, and I realized it wasn't his fault. It was just bad karma on our part, his part and my part, and bad timing in life. He was at the end of, sir, he was at the end of Jupiter Dasha. He was in Jupiter Rahu. I was in Rahu Moon. मतलब और क्या होता, यही होता. He came as a karmic messenger for me, right? वो pain, I had to go through that pain in Rahu Moon. वो नहीं होता, कोई और होता. So everybody who comes in our life to give us pain or we give them pain, etc., we are fulfilling our karma. हम अपने कर्मों को खत्म करते जा रहे हैं उनके साथ. और वो आपको अपने चार्ट से, उनके चार्ट से समझ आएगा. And there's no point in holding grudges, guys, against people. The more you move into Jupiter, you will know कि पुराना सारा कचरा निकालो और फेंको और आगे बढ़ो.
Good. Okay, interesting one. If you could describe Rahu to Jupiter in a brief form, like a song, a meme, a poem, a stanza, dialogue, etc., what would you say?
सर इसमें तो आप अच्छे हैं, आप बताएं.
दो चीजें मैंने उनमें से एक मीम डाला भी था. Especially the funniest transition is from Rahu Moon to Rahu Mars. Rahu Mars to Jupiter तो फिर भी थोड़ा चल जाता, बट जो स्टार्क कॉन्ट्रास्ट उसमें देखता, एक साउथ इंडियन मूवी थी वेदलम, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग. तो उसमें एक सीन होता है, ये शरीफ सा होता है आदमी, एंड he goes to a gangster den कि साहब ऐसा मत करो साहब, मत करो साहब. उसको बंदूक लगाते हैं और वो बिल्कुल ऐसे मुंह उसका रुआसा सा होता और गोली चलने की आवाज आती है. देन यू सी कि उस आदमी ने बंदूक छीन के दूसरे गोली मार दी, एंड देन ही स्टार्ट्स टू स्माइल एंड लाफ लाइक अ सीरियल किलर मैनियक, और फिर वहां पे 10-20 आदमी को मार देता वो. दैट इज राहु मून टू राहु मार्स ट्रांजिशन. दैट्स वन. दूसरा, एक वो जब वी मेट का गीत वाला था ना, कि वो रोते रोते फोन उठाती है एंड बाय द एंड शी इज लाइक अब्यूजिंग हिम. दैट इज अ वेरी शॉकिंग ट्रांजिशन. सो ये दो मीम्स मुझे याद आते हैं. तीसरी चीज, समथिंग लाइक सुबह हो गई मामू, बिकॉज राहु में अंधेरा हर तरफ.
हाँ.
यू कांट फ्रिकन डिसाइड. आपको डायरेक्शन पता है ना, आप जोश पूरे से जा रहे हो बट डायरेक्शन नहीं पता. जुपिटर में वो लाइट आती है, आदमी को दिखना शुरू हो जाता है. सो आई थिंक दैट इज द बिगेस्ट डिफरेंस. वो ज्ञान
तो
का
सर रॉक कॉन्सर्ट से शिव तांडव कॉन्सर्ट तक की जर्नी होती है ये. हाँ,
मतलब गहरी रात्रि से और एक ज्ञान के सुप्रकाश तक की. अब ये अगला वाला बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है भाई. दिव्या जी के यूट्यूब का चैनल बताइए.
मेरा कोई यूट्यूब का चैनल
आई
नहीं
थिंक
है.
यू शुड हैव वन बेटा. हाई टाइम.
सो नाइस ऑफ यू. एंड सर, आपने मुझे इतना प्लेटफॉर्म दिया एंड एस्ट्रोलॉजी सिखाई. बट अनदर एस्ट्रोलॉजर हु आई एम वेरी फॉन्ड ऑफ, वो बहुत अच्छे से बोलते हैं कि यूट्यूब इज अ वेरी राहु प्लेस. यहाँ पे वो चलते ही मीम्स और मिसलीडिंग इलायची लगाओ ये होगा. जैसे आप प्रैक्टिकल रेमेडीज में, बिहेवियरल रेमेडीज में बिलीव करते हैं, और मैंने क्योंकि आपसे सीखा है, आई थिंक व्हाट मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट इज यूज एस्ट्रोलॉजी एज अ स्वॉट एनालिसिस एंड अ साइकोलॉजिकल टूल फॉर योर लाइफ. कि आपकी स्ट्रेंथ्स क्या है, वीकनेस क्या है, अपॉर्चुनिटीज क्या है, थ्रेट क्या है. डोंट यूज इट कि मैं ये करूंगा तो वो हो जाएगा. रेमेडीज वर्क, इन माय ओपिनियन, दे रियली वर्क, बट द वर्क एज पैरासीटामोल. आपको जो अपने कर्म काटने हैं वो काटने पड़ेंगे. नो अमाउंट ऑफ एस्ट्रोलॉजर रेमेडीज कैन फिक्स दैट. वो आपका
एंड
पेन
वर्क एट अ माइंड लेवल. ऐसा नहीं है कि मैंने जो है वहां पर डाल दिया, कोई रेमेडी कर दिया तो अगले दिन कोई 10 लाख रुपए ले खड़ा होगा मेरे लिए. डजंट हैपन लाइक दैट. बट आई थिंक दिव्या, इट्स हाई टाइम. देखो, यूट्यूब सिर्फ राहु नहीं है, ठीक है. यूट्यूब वीनस भी है, मरकरी भी है. Right, so I'll leave it to you. Okay, next question. Is there any transformation of desires in Jupiter Dasha or in Sandhi? What should be the correct approach of this period of career, relationship and mental peace which is gone in Rahu? देखो, ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑफ डिजायर ये होता है कि आप you stop being delusional.
हम्म
आपको एक बार वही है ना, ये नहीं पता कि साहब रस्सी है या सांप है, पता लगा सांप है, आप पकड़ के लटके हुए हो अंधेरे में, देन यू रियलाइज ओ गॉड ये तो सांप है, आप उसको छोड़ देते हो.
हम्म
एंड देन यू माइट थिंक आई वांट दिस पर्सन, और अब यू नो मैं मर जाऊंगा, ये नहीं मिला इंसान, तो देन यू फाइंड आउट ये तो पागल का बच्चा सर्टिफाइड, ये तो ना मिला तो अच्छा.
आपको जरूरत ही नहीं होती है उसकी.
सो वो जो सुबह होती है ना, एक
या
मैं एग्जांपल यूज करता हूँ बॉर्डर मूवी का,
हम्म
राहु जुपिटर का जो मूवमेंट है उसको लेकर के. वो पुरानी वाली सनी देओल जैकी श्रॉफ वाली, तो उसमें जैकी श्रॉफ इज एन एयर इंडियन एयर फोर्स का पायलट, एंड सनी देओल इज फाइटिंग ऑन द फ्रंट, एंड दिस वाज अ रियल स्टोरी. मतलब सो पाकिस्तानी एयरफोर्स हैड एयर सुपीरियरिटी बिकॉज वो लोग रात को उड़ सकते थे, इंडियंस डिड नॉट. So while the Indian forces were getting hammered on the ground as well as from the air force, इंडियन एयरफोर्स चाह के भी कुछ नहीं करवा रही. तो उसमें दिखाते जैकी साहब पूरी पिक्चर में एक ही डायलॉग बोलते रहे, सुबह कब होगी, ये सुबह कब होगी, एंड दिस गाइज आर फाइटिंग गेटिंग मैसेक्रेड. और जैसे ही सुबह होती है इंडियन एयरफोर्स का धर 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 सब फोड़ देते हैं. व्हाट मेड द डिफरेंस? द लाइट मेड द डिफरेंस. प्रकाश, ज्ञान का प्रकाश. सो वंस यू एंटर जुपिटर यू रियलाइज ये क्या था, इसके पीछे मर रहा था, हटा इसको, ये
बिल्कुल.
जॉब करने के लिए टेंशन रहती है, ये तो कलेश है, दफा करो. सो यू आर एबल टू सी क्लियरली. दैट इज व्हाई ज्ञान का प्रकाश इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट. Okay, this is an interesting one, a very mixed one, and this is the last one on the list. A person went through with Rahu Dasha committing a lot of sins, followed a thug life kind of lifestyle. Now his Jupiter Dasha, they realize all those sins that they have done, and there is remorse. Will God help them out of their sins and wrongdoings?
Of course, you are under the guidance and छत्र छाया of a guru. वो अपने आप आपके मॉरल्स करेक्ट होंगे जुपिटर में आके, आपकी वैल्यूज करेक्ट होंगी, आपका थॉट प्रोसेस करेक्ट होगा. पुराने अपनी हरकत, लोगों ने आपको धोखा दिया वो तो ठीक है, आपने भी लोगों को धोखा दिया, आप ये भी रिफ्लेक्ट करोगे. सो लेट्स नॉट जस्ट ब्लेम कि राहु में लोगों ने हमें धोखा दिया, हमने भी काफी टेढ़े काम करे होते हैं. आपका पूरा मॉरल कोड ऑफ कॉन्डक्ट चेंज हो जाएगा जुपिटर में आके गाइस. लाइक इट्स यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू बी द सेम पर्सन एज यू आर, एंड दैट डिपेंड्स आपका जुपिटर कितनी सात्विक प्लेसमेंट में है आल्सो सर.
और
अगर आपका
यहाँ पे
जुपिटर ही
मैं एक दो चीजें बोलना चाहूंगा, बिकॉज ये बहुत गहरा सवाल है. दिस इज वेरी लेयर्ड. गलतियां हो सकती हैं, ओके, गलतियों की माफी होती है, कुछ गलतियों की सजा होती है, कुछ होते हैं गुनाह, उनकी माफी नहीं होती, उनके सिर्फ सजा होती है. दूसरी चीज, आई हैव ऑल्सो सीन कि अगर आदमी के चार्ट में बड़ी डिस्ट्रक्टिव एनर्जीज है, जुपिटर में उसको पावर मिलती है, वो पावर का मिसयूज भी करता है. सो मरकरी, वीनस, जुपिटर, सन, इनमें आपको पावर मिल जाती है, राशिक प्लैनेट्स हैं,
या
एंड यू कैन एंड अप मिसयूजिंग दैट पावर. राहु में आपने शायद डेस्परेशन में कंफ्यूजन में किए होंगे, राइट. जुपिटर में इफ यू लेट योर मॉरल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट गो, देखो एवरी प्लैनेट हैज अ हायर प्रिंसिपल, अ लोअर प्रिंसिपल. When Jupiter goes to a lower principle, then you have the coaching mafia. Then you have the teachers जो बच्चों की पिटाई करते हैं, उनको हैरास करते हैं कि साहब कोचिंग लगवाओ वरना क्लास में खड़ा कर दूंगा. And they have absolute power over the class. भाई साहब, very very few dictators have the kind of power that a teacher has in the class. So राहु में जो हुआ नहीं हुआ उसकी शायद माफी हो जाए. जो जुपिटर में if you commit a sin,
हाँ
बिकॉज महाभारत में एक डायलॉग है युधिष्ठिर का, एंड इट सेज क्रुएलिटी कम्स टू द पावरफुल इजीली.
या
वेरी वाइज डायलॉग. सो राहु में ठीक है, आप डेस्परेट थे, परेशान थे, कंफ्यूज थे, लॉस्ट थे, यू डिड समथिंग. मे बी नॉट हु आर वी टू जज, लेट द गॉड्स बी द जज. बट वन थिंग आई कैन टेल यू, व्हेन जुपिटर गिव्स यू क्लैरिटी एंड पावर एंड यू मिसयूज इट, आगे शनि खड़ा है
धो
बॉस,
देगा उसके बाद आपको.
आगे
प्लीज डरो
शनि
सैटर्न
खड़ा
के
है.
आने तक.
So I've seen this, you know, कुछ born bad kind of people होते हैं, सबकी जिंदगी हराम करके रखते हैं. When they get into Jupiter, शुक्र, मरकरी, खून पी लेते सबका. उसके बाद शनि ऐसे रगड़े देखे तो होता है ना.
पर सर ये भी डिपेंड करता है ना आपका जुपिटर कैसा प्लेस्ड है. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल माइन इज वेरी इट्स इन वेरी सात्विक कंपनी, तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली.
Of course, नहीं, but there are people who have a very Rahu Shani influence on their charts.
या
तो वो तो हत्यारे के हाथ में हथियार आ गया, सो दैट्स।
करेक्ट करेक्ट,
बट उन लोगों को मैंने फिर रगड़ के धुलाई होते देखा शनि की दशा।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। तो
तो राहु में जो हुआ एक बार को शायद उसकी
या
माफी हो जाए, जो जुपिटर में करोगे याद रखना आगे कौन आ रहा, क्योंकि वो फिर तरस नहीं खाता। गेम ऑफ थ्रोन्स तुमने देखा नहीं शायद। द वॉरियर क्वीन डेनेरिस शी कॉन्कर्स सिटी, तो वहां के स्लेव मास्टर्स को सूली पे लटका देते हैं। तो उसका एडवाइजर कहता है, क्वीन वी शुड आंसर इनजस्टिस विद मर्सी, so that's a guru approach, okay?
या
And then she replies with a very shani answer. She said, I will answer injustice with justice. I get goosebumps as I say that, you know, shani in the night. So भैया आगे शनि आ रहा है, उतनी बल्ले बल्ले करो जो
बिल्कुल
झेल
सर,
पाओ।
मेरे को तो लगता
If you
है
behave yourself in your Jupiter, you will
या
have an easy शनि दशा। बहुत बड़ा सूत्र है ये, people just forget about it। शनि
या
मुझे मार रहा है, शनि ओ भाई मार क्यों रहा है? He is the Lord of Justice। कांड किए तब मारेगा ना। आई हैव सीन पीपल डाउनफॉल इन शनि, जिन्होंने जुपिटर में अत मचा रखी थी ना, आसमान सिर पर उठा रखा था आदमी
शनि
का।
तो छोड़ेगा नहीं आपको, कुछ भी कर लो आप उल्टे लटक जाओ, देन यू आर
तो
गॉन।
जुपिटर में जो आपने पाप कमाए हैं वो उसकी लॉन्ड्री से धुलाई होगी, साथ में आयरनिंग और कर देगा।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, मेरे को तो
कलर
डर लगता है
लगाए सीधा
सोचकर।
कर देते।
the thing sir, I have seen people, जो लास्ट क्वार्टर ऑफ जुपिटर होता है जब मैसिव सक्सेस मिलती है, क्योंकि जुपिटर फर्स्ट क्वार्टर में तो आप फिर भी बेचारे राहु पीटीएसडी के मारे हुए रहते हो, बिकॉज राहु ट्रॉमा इतना सिवियर होता है कि वो फर्स्ट क्वार्टर के बाद जाना शुरू होता है, जुपिटर मर्क्यूरी के बाद तक। और फिर जब आपको वो बहुत सब कुछ मिल जाता है लाइफ का, एंड प्लीज इसको सब ये मत बोलना कि कितने करोड़ और 500 करोड़ मिल गए, 2000 करोड़ तो नहीं मिलेंगे, स्टॉप क्वांटिफाइंग इट।
that's a राहु शनि बीमारी। yeah।
तो जब आपको जुपिटर एंड में लाइफ इज गुड, you've had the authority, let's say your sun Jupiter, so you were given authority कि आप लोगों का कुछ अच्छा कर सको, बट आपने उसको मिसयूज करा। और एंड में आपका अगर ईगो बढ़ा जुपिटर में, तो फिर आप याद रखें कि वो खड़ूस प्रिंसिपल, सॉरी नॉट खड़ूस, आई कांट इवन से, वो स्ट्रिक्ट प्रिंसिपल साहब आएंगे और जोर से धुलाई करेंगे। आई हैव सीन पीपल एट द पीक सर ऑफ देयर सक्सेस, और फिर वो जो स्टीप आता है ना शनि ईगो ब्रेक करने का। एंड यू रिमेम्बर हमने कुछ महीनों पहले बात की थी, when nothing was happening on this very famous YouTuber,
चलो
where he
let's
just
not
got
discuss somebody's downfall।
no not in a bad way, I mean this is काल चक्र, right? सबके साथ आना है अच्छा और बुरा, but that was just one glimpse, एक channel brought down होना। और हमने तब बात की थी, I was very certain this is just the beginning।
अभी पार्टी शुरू हुई है।
अभी तो अनफॉर्चुनेटली अभी तो शनि की पार्टी शुरू हुई है। अभी
So,
शनि, Jupiter to Shani is not fun if you're
ना,
if you're
मैं आज ना दिव्या, in your honor I'm going to give out a very strong sutra to everybody, okay? You tend to become very ruthless in Mercury, rational planet, ना, खट 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 खट,
arrogant,
and you think बाकी सारे नियंडरथाल हैं। वो सारे तुम्हारे करतूतों को ना केतु कॉपी में लिख रहा है आराम से तसल्ली से बैठ के, कोई नहीं पुत्र बताता हूँ, ठीक है? एंड केतु स्टिल थैंकफुली अ वेरी शॉर्ट दशा, वरना कोई सरवाइव नहीं करे, इट वुड हैव बीन 20 years।
yeah,
Jupiter gives you a lot of resources, a lot of power most of the times, okay? And you feel कि भाई मुझे तो कोई छू नहीं सकता, मैं तो कुछ भी करूंगा। And I have seen people कि साहब मेरा तो कोई कुछ उखाड़ नहीं सकता।
correct,
वो जो पीछे कॉपी पेंसिल लेके बैठा हुआ है ना, काले कपड़े पहन के, पापा जी
I know,
वटे पापा जी, वो काली शाही से लिख रहे सब, और आने के बाद वो धुलाई शुरू होती है। मैंने ऐसे भीषण पतन देखे हैं, मेरी आत्मा कांपती है।
सर मत डराओ, अभी तो राहु टू जुपिटर, लेट देम
नहीं नहीं नहीं,
एंजॉय।
वो सही है, लेट देम एंजॉय, बट लेट देम बी कॉन्शियस ऑफ द फैक्ट। क्योंकि जो
मॉरल एंड रिस्पांसिबल
16-17 साल बाद जो पर्ची फटनी है, अभी से भाई साहब कायदे में रहोगे तो फायदे में रहोगे।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, बहुत, लेट्स नॉट इवन गेट दैट।
डू नॉट, so Jupiter will bring good things to you for sure, ensure you do not misuse।
सर एक सवाल बस, मेरी फ्रेंड ने पूछा था, I have seen Rahu Mahadasha people hold a lot of grudges against other people during the dasha. Is it really other people are wrong, or is it Rahu that changes us?
बताओ।
ये जवाब आप दीजिए,
मैं जवाब दूं? ओके,
फिर मैं अपने पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस से दूंगी इसको।
इट्स एक्चुअली बोथ, इट्स बोथ।
हम्म।
राहु जब आपके दिमाग में घुसा होता, देखो, महादशा लॉर्ड इज द सीई ऑफ योर लाइफ, ठीक है? तो राहु जब तुम्हारे दिमाग में घुसा होता, तुम भी दो नंबरी काम करने के लिए तत्पर रहते हो, यू आर विलिंग टू टेक शॉर्टकट्स,
या
हसल थिंग्स आउट। और जब उसकी पर्ची फटती है, देन यू स्टार्ट टू क्राई।
या
दूसरे, इस पीरियड में द काइंड ऑफ पीपल यू अट्रैक्ट इन लाइफ आर टिपिकली द वंस हु आर not very morally upright, or it can be a relationship of convenience or a relationship of delusion.
या
Yeah, you might date somebody thinking कि यार ये बंदी बड़ी हॉट है, यार ये बंदा बड़ा कूल है, and then you find out ये तो चांडाल है। अब गलती किसकी? गलती दोनों की है। यू माइट थिंक कि यार मैं यहाँ पे जो है ना, थोड़ा सा एक आध डॉक्यूमेंट इधर उधर लगा देता हूँ, क्या दिक्कत है, क्या ही पता चलेगा। और फिर पता लगा भैया कोई नई इंक्वायरी आई, वो उस पे आपकी नौकरी चली गई। सो राहु डज दैट, आपको डेस्परेट करेगा कि शॉर्टकट लो, शॉर्टकट लो। आप खुद को, राहु का फेवरेट हथियार है कंपैरिजन, आप खुद को कंपेयर करते हो। मैंने वो भी बना था भैया, राहु पीरियड में लिंक्डइन पे ना जाओ, कोई ना जाओ, इट इज द मोस्ट राहु साइट ऑन अर्थ।
स्कैर्सिटी मॉडल से ऑपरेट करते हो ना, अबंडेंस तो होता ही नहीं है
हाँ,
हमारे
तो
पास, जो है
आपको
वो भी
लगता,
कम है।
नहीं नहीं, और राहु में सबसे खतरनाक वर्ड होता है डिजर्व। मैं ये डिजर्व करता हूं। अरे भाई, तुम बड़े अंबानी के पोते लग रहे हो, क्यों डिजर्व करते हो?
हम्म,
अगला बन गया उसके, तो आप क्या कहते हो? नहीं साहब, वो कर सकता है तो मैं भी कर
हम्म,
सकता हूँ, कंपैरिजन
correct.
है। तो वो कर सकता, मैं भी कर सकता हूँ। आपने नौकरी छोड़ी, सीईओ का विजिटिंग कार्ड छपाया, और 3 महीने में योर स्टार्टअप गोज बैंकरप्ट। दैट इज हाउ राहु हैपेंस। और लोग गलत आते हैं, इसीलिए मैं कहता हूँ राहु में पंगे नहीं लेने चाहिए, आदमी को डेस्परेट नहीं होना चाहिए, टेम्पटेशंस को अवॉइड करना चाहिए। सो लोग भी गलत मिलते हैं, ये भी मैंने देखा है, और आपको भी पता होता है आप कहाँ शॉर्टकट ले रहे हो। सो अगर शॉर्टकट कम लो, और डेस्परेशन को अवॉइड करो, और जहां भी लग रहा बंदा गड़बड़ है, डील मत करो। आई नो इट्स डिफिकल्ट बिकॉज राहु का टेम्पटेशन बहुत स्ट्रांग होता, बट यू नीड अ लिटिल विजडम टू गो थ्रू इट। ओवर टू यू।
सर मेरा बहुत सिंपली आंसर होगा, क्योंकि मेरे साथ हो चुका है। राहु में आपके माइंड में इतनी खचखच खचखच चलती है, एंड बाय द टाइम यू कम टू जुपिटर, और राहु में इतने धोखे मिल चुके होते हैं, इतने धोखे मिल चुके होते हैं, मतलब यू आर लाइक अ वॉकिंग धोखा। आपको लगता है आप एक ट्यूबलाइट को भी हाथ लगाओगे तो वो बुझ जाएगी। इतनी अजीब अजीब चीजें होती हैं, सो मच सो मेरी एक, आई वुडंट लाइक टू नेम, बट अ वेरी पॉपुलर फैशन डिजाइनर, आई डिड सम वर्क फॉर हर एंड नेवर गॉट माय मनी। आपने कभी सुना है कि टेक्सचर पेंट हुआ है वॉल पे और वो गिर गया किसी क्लाइंट के सर के ऊपर? ऐसी चीजें होती थी राहुल में। उसकी एक पपड़ी उसके किसी स्टोर में किसी कस्टमर के ऊपर गिरी, एंड दैट बिकेम वन ऑफ द रीजंस टू नॉट पे मी। आई वाज लैक्स एंड लैक्स ऑफ रुपीज। सोफे में से स्टेपलर, जिससे हम लोग सोफा स्टेपल होता है, बिकॉज आई वाज इन द इंटीरियर बिजनेस, वो निकल जाता था। बेस्ट वेंडर माल बनाता था, लकड़ी में वाइट एंड्स लग जाते थे। इतनी अजीब चीजें होती थी। तो बाय द टाइम आई केम इनटू जुपिटर, आई वाज लाइक मैं जो भी करूंगी वो गलत होगा, या मैं जिसके साथ भी डील करूंगी वो पैसे ही नहीं देगा। देयर वाज सो मच ऑफ PTSD of Rahu in Jupiter that you hold a lot of grudges at the beginning. इसने मेरे साथ गलत करा, उसने मेरे साथ, you're always pointing finger at the other person. But as you settle, the more you know, go into the Guru Tattva, and the more you surrender, the more you release, you know, it's a baggage of trauma that you're carrying from Rahu. उसको जितना जल्दी आप जाने दोगे, आप उतने शांत और उतना ज्यादा फॉरगिव कर दोगे लोगों को, वरना यू विल कैरी दिस टिल द वेरी लास्ट क्वार्टर ऑफ द दशा। जुपिटर तो अपना काम करेगा, यू विल जस्ट वेस्ट अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम। सो जस्ट लेट गो ऑफ अ लॉट, फॉरगिव पीपल। जो पुराना हुआ, ट्रस्ट मी, वो नहीं होगा। यू कैन टेक माई वर्ड ऑन दैट। जुपिटर में थॉट प्रोसेस और एक्शन से डिफरेंट हो गए। यू नो, ओवर टाइम माई बाउंड्रीज बिकेम सो क्लियर कि वही सेम लोग मेरे साथ वैसा नहीं करते हैं। They may be the same with other people, but they're not like that with me.
I don't know, maybe it's the difference between Ketu and Rahu, because in Ketu, if you break something off, it is not coming back.
Hmm.
And I've had my history. लोग बोलते हैं आप अपने केतु महादशा का वीडियो क्यों नहीं बनाते? Because I might start crying in between it.
Yeah, it's very dramatic.
Oh boy. So there are a few people, you wish them well, you don't want to hurt them or something,
Yeah.
but you just don't want to see them. वो
हाँ,
I
निकलो
remember,
निकलो वहां से, वो राहु के कचरे से निकलो. देखिए, राहु लोग इस वाइब्रेशनल एनर्जी पर है, आप यहाँ धीरे धीरे उठ रहे हो, तो आप वो मैच ही नहीं कर पाओगे. सर, इतनी मजे की बात, कोई मेरी डेटिंग लाइफ में बहुत इंटरेस्टेड है, जस्ट फॉर देम बिफोर वी रैप अप, बिकॉज आई हैड द प्रिविलेज ऑफ एस्ट्रोलॉजी. तो राहु में whoever I went out on a date or whoever I was introduced to, मैं उनकी कुंडलियों में गई सबकी वापस. वो सब राहु शनि, you know it, you know how much I'm always attracted those type. और अब जुपिटर में आके, you know, anybody I would meet or I was introduced to, मैं उनकी कुंडली देखती थी and they all were केतु, जुपिटर, मून. और फनी बात, my friend was like, दिव्या, अगर तुमको राहु में वो जुपिटर वाला लड़का मिला भी होता तो वो बेचारा बात करता धीरे धीरे. एंड आई वाज लाइक, कितना बोरिंग है. राहु में आपको चाहिए मिर्च मसाला, मजेदार, धोखा, टॉक्सिक.
Bring in the toxicity. Yeah, baby.
You love toxicity.
Toxicism, yeah, baby. So Jupiter में you are wiser. You're like, boss, this is not good for me. So एक टूपाक शकूर का एक डायलॉग है, मुझे बहुत पसंद है. He said, I still wish you well. I want you to eat, but not at my table.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fair way of dealing with the people you don't want to reintroduce in your life.
और निकलो वहां से, आगे बढ़ो. Life has so much more to offer.
Because आप उन्हीं के बारे में सोचते रहोगे, so you won't be able to focus your energies on the things which you can do. And Jupiter में you can do a lot of things.
Yes.
So इसी के साथ we reach the end of this. Thank you, Divya. Awesome session. I think this is the best one you have ever had. I've done like 10-20 with you, but I think this is the one where you were the real star and I was the, you know, interviewer, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. So,
me too. सर, मेरा ईगो मत बढ़ाओ. I also have to go to.
नहीं, ईगो की बात नहीं. The truth is the truth, right? So let's see क्या comments आते हैं, and we'll see you in the next video. तब तक के लिए जय गुरुदेव.
जय गुरुदेव. Thank you everyone, and have hope.